everybody. My name is Melanie, and today I'm going to be talking about quantum physics for babies. Quantum Physics for Babies was written by Chris Ferrie. It is a nonfiction children's book that attempts to take the complex idea of quantum physics and simplify it so a small mind for a child between the ages 0 to 3 can be exposed to it and potentially understand it. So, as far as the overall progression of the book, it starts off with very simple things that the child may know of already. For example, it will tell them this is a ball. So it establishes shapes. And then it moves into introducing concepts like this ball has energy or this ball has no energy. And then from there, it manipulates these concepts, like saying this ball is called an electron and it can go here but not here. So that's sort of the progression of how it occurs in the book. It really does push the reader to think abstractly when they may not be able to understand it, which is one of the weaknesses that I'm leading into. As far as age appropriateness, I'm not sure if this book is actually age appropriate for children 0 to 3 years old because concepts presented in this book would probably go beyond a preschooler's understanding. Even with the simplified language that they attempt to use, there is too much in this book that they may not be able to connect to or understand. The complex language in this book that's used includes words like protons, electrons, quantized, quantum physicist, and they're not exactly explained thoroughly. Saying something like, this amount of energy is quantum, which is my quote for this book, it doesn't explain what it means. It shows two arrows, and it says, this amount of energy is quantum. But is it moving? I think that the arrows would indicate that it is, but I don't know if a child would understand that. However, I will say that the simplified structure of each page, including like the bright colors and the little amount of words on each page, is definitely age appropriate. As far as using this in the classroom, I don't know if I would. As a future educator, I might attempt to use this book in my classroom, but I'm still on the fence. About that, honestly. So after spending time with this book, I'm still not sure if I would use it, especially as a first choice for the children in my class, because again, they would probably not understand most of it. I think it'd be a good idea to expose them, but I'm unsure that they would truly benefit from reading this book at such a young age. Even with the activities that I'm going to mention, it may be over their heads. So I would use this book to expose them to the concepts, but I would not expect them to actually understand it. It presents information but does not explain the why, which is understandable again to a degree because they are preschool children, but it still leaves a lot of questions unanswered. As far as activities for this book, there's two that I came up with, and you can use them both, or you could use them by themselves. But I was thinking if you use them in a stacked manner, it would actually be pretty good to help them try to connect and understand to what we're reading. So the part one, or the first activity, I would have the children sit in a circle on the floor. They'd be able to roll the ball that I provide, and it would be a colored ball, um, the same as the ones that we found in the book. And every time the ball rolls, I would explain this ball has energy. When the ball stops, the ball has no energy. Even with the complex idea of quantum energy, being the two squiggly lines we found in the book, I would try to correlate that with the children's arms pushing. So the quantum energy is coming from the pushing arms, and the energy is transferred to the ball, which then goes to another student. And then that student would put their quantum energy into the ball and push it to another student across from them. So that's the first part. The second part, or the second activity, would include creating atoms on a paper plate. So how we would go about that is every child would get a paper plate, which has already beforehand had circles drawn on it. In our book here, we can see that there are 3 rings around this binky here. Of course, that binky would be our nucleus, but we wouldn't get into detail with that. But the plates would have 3 rings on them, and I would provide colored pom-poms, which are those fuzzy little balls, and some glue to the children. And depending on what color the pom-poms are and where they belong, if they're protons, neutrons, or electrons, I would help the children place them appropriately, or they could do it themselves based on what they understood about the book. So I feel like those are 2 pretty good activities to try to take this complex idea and make it more graspable for children. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.